Did you guys see that people have been modding all the characters in this game to look hot? So there's like hot mods for everything. The mod to change Angela's face goes against her character and what she represents. That mod, I agree. I don't like any of those that are just like make them hot. That doesn't make sense to me. It's clearly like, that to me is not the reason why I play any of these games, genuinely. And I can understand though, like in something like Nier Automata, right? Oh, even sexier version of 2B, fine. Like that makes sense. I mean, the game itself already goes pretty far, so that's, if you're changing the way people look just to make them hot, no. And I can understand though, if people are changing it for technical reasons. Like I remember when Mass Effect Andromeda came out, people were changing a lot of it because it was broken. That makes sense. But many times they were also making them look hotter at the same time with like the fixed faces. So I think it's the same issue that, I don't know if people saw this, but when the Fallout TV show was coming out, a lot of people photoshopped the actress's butt to be bigger because they were like, that's not realistic. So on the poster, they photoshopped her butt. I believe there was a pretty big backlash when that happened, because while I think someone was saying that like, well, it's very common for people to do that with mods and stuff in games, that's very much like not a normal thing outside of it. So because the show was kind of reaching outside of just the gaming crowd, that was received with a lot of backlash, where many times it isn't when it's just in the gaming sphere. So this is what they did. And from what I understand, there was a pretty big backlash to this. The funny, sexy mods are fine. Like the one that gives James a Playgirl bunny outfit. Well, they are serious. Yeah, I agree. If the intention is to be serious about it, just because, oh, they're ugly and stuff, if it's supposed to be comedic, then it's fine. But you can very much tell when it is comedic and when it's not. So I don't like it. I think that's probably the best way to put it, is like, if it's supposed to be comedic, even, and that's the thing, right? It's not if the person is saying it's comedic when you can clearly tell it's not. Like, I wouldn't want to normalize whining about women not being sexy. I agree. I wouldn't want it the other way either. I wouldn't want guys being sexualized and there being complaints because guys weren't sexy enough all the time, just existing, right? Like, not that people are not allowed, if they want to be, sure, but like if you're imposing it on other people, that's not cool. And the same goes for games or anything like this. Again, if it's serious, if you're seriously being like, yes, need to make them hot, need to make them sexy, it's so dumb. If you're doing it for comedy, and again, very easy to tell if it's one or the other, then it's fine. But yeah, I don't think it should be normalized at all. I already don't like when people feel bad, and mainly women feel bad that when they can't sometimes go out not wearing makeup or not like any number of things because they feel like they'll be judged or many times like actually called out for it. That's absolutely horrible. The standard for that has been such that the normal that people perceive are like already completely, not completely I guess, but like modified photos, enhanced photos, or even like women wearing heavy makeup being like, oh, this is the natural look, this is the normal look. When it's not at all. And I don't think it should be like that. I don't think, again, if people want to, it's fine, but I don't think it should be the normal. I think it should be an option and it should be recognized as a choice. Not that that's how it should be for everyone, and people that sometimes might not even want to feel forced to. I would not go out ever without wearing makeup, but that's the thing. If that's a choice, that's fine. If you're feeling pressured, I feel that's very wrong. And not on you, but it's like our entire society has normalized that. That goes from people to brands that want you to buy their products. It's on all levels. The fact that it's been normalized is like, it's just accepted by everyone. And I think that that's very problematic. Because of that, people wonder, like, they don't like wonder, how does this even happen? Because people understand it to a good extent, but like people wonder why so many girls have self-esteem issues with their appearance and stuff like that. And this makes sense. Like when you're pressured, and not just with this, but in general, like when anyone is pressured their entire lives to do something that's clearly not them, and if you don't do it, you're not good enough, you're not even seen as a normal person. That's a problem. And I think that's where that problem lies. It's just the denormalization of the actual normal, I guess. I even feel embarrassment for my neighbors seeing me with no makeup. See, like that shouldn't be the case. It should be normalized. People, it is a good thing to normalize not needing all those things. It's just one of those difficult things because again, once you normalize something, truly, genuinely normalize something, it's so difficult to change it. Anything that's seen as normal has huge backlash if you try to change it, independent of what it is. Anything that's considered to be the default, if you want to change it, it's gonna have so much backlash. Doesn't matter how bad it is. My biggest thing is that I have really dark under eyes, which I actually learned last few days is down to allergies. Interesting, I did not know that. I got so many comments throughout my life of, oh, you look tired, you look sick, and I feel like I have to hide them. And that's the thing, I think you see a lot of guys that have them too, but no one's gonna comment on that, right? And I feel like something like that is not even just at you, it is because women have dark bags under their eyes like any other people, right? Like there's different amounts of it, but it's been normal to never see them because they're always concealed, I guess. With concealer? I don't know makeup. But, so that makes it very difficult. They're called allergic shiners? I had never heard of that. That's interesting. Honestly, my stance on this is also not just with makeup, but like with fashion, with anything. If there's anything that people feel like they need to do to be able to feel normal, I think that that's weird. I think that that's wrong. Like if you need to follow for a certain fashion trend or a certain style or otherwise you feel like you're not good enough to exist, I think that's bad. And I'm pretty sure it's what I have. I have horrible dark bags and no one has ever said anything. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, it's a different standard. It is absolutely a different standard. And I feel like the most complicated thing is that I think it's completely understandable why people would be very angry when stuff like this happens. But to me, and not just with this, with literally anything, my opinion is always that if you are aggressive at telling people that something is wrong, that's just going to antagonize them and it's going to make it worse. And I feel like many of the times, rightfully so, women are angry that this is the normal and they have to they get comments all the time. But then people are like, oh, look at them, they're just bitching about it and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And I think that sucks as well because I feel like if we want the most change, we need to be calm about it, but it's so hard to be calm when you've been many times just pulled down to the bottom of it because of all these comments, people berating you because you're not wearing a certain thing, people, it's so difficult. So I feel like that what would be the easiest path to change is the hardest to do because of how these things make us feel at the end of the day. Like you being dehumanized in one way or another is going to make you angry. It's going to make you have strong feelings. But many times that ends up also being the way that it makes it more difficult for the people we want to change. Because they'll just feel like you're attacking them when really that's not the purpose. It's way more of you want that standard to change so that you can be seen as a normal person. So I feel like that also makes it difficult because while it's fair that people would be mad, it's also counterproductive in trying to change the people who are against it, the mind of the people who are against that, which is stupid, but that's just how humans work. Not just with this, but with anything. If they feel attacked, they defend instead of opening up to learning or doing anything. When you're treated every day less than human, it makes sense to be angry. Absolutely. But I feel like at the same time, that's the thing that will probably also make the people that are very the misogynists or whatever. Would that be the right word for that? I think it is. To be like, aha, see, that kind of thing. I think the best example of this that we have, at least in my memory, was in the civil rights movement in the 60s, how Martin Luther King wanted to do it peacefully versus having a lot of aggression and a lot of at least when I was studying the stuff he did, it's okay, we need to do this in a peaceful manner. Even if many times people would get hurt and people would get dragged out of buses and that kind of stuff. If you want change, you can't force the change. You need to show them that they're wrong in a way that's civil and that's, not aggressive towards the people who you want to change. But I don't know. That's just kind of how I felt looking at this. But again, I feel like that sort of thing applies to anything to do with like changing people's minds. I feel like it's natural for us with anything like this to want to be aggressive because we're angry. But that ends up being the most destructive way of going about it. But again, it's the natural way. The most unnatural is to stay calm through all of this. But yeah, so that's my 2 cents on that.